Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to dive into a historical and theological topic that has profound implications for believers worldwide. The change of the Sabbath, the seventh day, to Sunday, the first day of the week, as the day of worship. Why and how did this change occur? What are its implications for us today? Stay with us as we uncover this fascinating history. Firstly, the biblical Sabbath is a divine institution. To understand the importance of the Sabbath, we must go back to the very origins of creation. In Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3, we read that God completed his work in 6 days and sanctified the seventh day, declaring it a day of rest. This Sabbath was given to humanity long before the law was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. The fourth commandment, written in Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 to 11, reminds the children of Israel to remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. This commandment, which is part of the 10 Commandments, is a reminder of God's rest and blessing on the seventh day. Secondly, the early Christians and the Sabbath. At the beginning of Christianity, the early believers, including the apostles, observed the Sabbath as a day of rest and worship. The New Testament shows us that Jesus and his disciples respected the Sabbath. For example, in Luke 4:16, it says that Jesus went to the synagogue as was his custom on the Sabbath day. The early Christians, who were mostly of Jewish origin, continued to observe the Sabbath while also celebrating the resurrection of Jesus, which occurred on the first day of the week. However, there is no indication in the New Testament that Jesus or the apostles changed the day of worship from the Sabbath to Sunday. Thirdly, the emergence of Sunday as a day of worship. The gradual shift from Sabbath to Sunday began several centuries after the apostles' deaths under the influence of the Roman Church. This change was motivated by several factors, including growing anti-Semitism and the desire to distinguish Christian practices from Jewish ones. In 321 AD, Emperor Constantine issued an edict making Sunday, the day of the sun, a legal day of rest throughout the Roman Empire. It is important to note that Constantine, although declaring himself a Christian, remained heavily influenced by pagan practices, and his decision to make Sunday a day of rest reflects this influence. Over time, the Roman Catholic Church reinforced this transition. At the Council of Laodicea, around 364 AD, a decree was issued prohibiting Christians from resting on the Sabbath and encouraging the observance of Sunday. Fourthly, the spiritual and theological consequences. This change from Sabbath to Sunday is not merely a historical detail, but a matter of great spiritual importance. The Sabbath is seen as a sign of the covenant between God and his people, a weekly reminder of the Creator and Redeemer. The shift to Sunday, without biblical mandate, is interpreted as an alteration of divine commandments by human authority. In this context, the observance of Sunday, when imposed by civil or religious authorities, is perceived as a sign of allegiance to an authority other than God. This issue is closely related to the prophecy of the mark of the beast in Revelation, where allegiance to God or opposing powers will manifest decisively. Fifthly, a call to faithfulness. Today, the question of the day of worship is more relevant than ever. While many Christians continue to celebrate Sunday, God calls for a return to faithfulness to the biblical Sabbath as a sign of obedience to God and acknowledgement of his authority. In conclusion, the change from Sabbath to Sunday as the day of worship is a subject loaded with historical and spiritual implications. As believers, it is crucial to understand the roots of our faith and choose to follow God's commandments as they are expressed in the Bible. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found this content uplifting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. May God bless you, and see you soon for another biblical exploration.